Could the Chicago Cubs be thinking even bigger than just getting Tatsuya Imai? Guys, we're going to talk about it and then some on this episode of Chicago Cubs Central. Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of Chicago Cubs Central, your number one spot for all things Chicago Cubs. I'm your host, Mike Jones. Thanks so much for tuning in to today's episode. Listen, I hope that you all had a fabulous Christmas. Hope that you spent time with family and with friends and that you had a merry good time. Merry Christmas to each and every last one of you that celebrate. Happy holidays. Hope you guys all got your fill of food, got the gifts that you wanted. I'm hoping as Cubs fans that here within the next week, we all get the gifts that we want, which is the Chicago Cubs to add on talent to this team to keep us viable for next season. So with that being said, the Chicago Cubs, we've talked about on our last episode, just what the heck are the Chicago Cubs waiting for? What's taking all this time? Why haven't the Chicago Cubs made any moves yet? Listen, I saw your comments out there, guys. I appreciate them. Like I said, I love jumping in the comment section, see you guys talking back and forth with each other, as well as talking to me and giving your thoughts on what the Chicago Cubs are or could be planning. With that being said, Jon Heyman also went on to his daily podcast and gave an idea on what the Chicago Cubs could be planning. Now, we all know the Chicago Cubs are in desperate need of starting pitching. It's been all but pretty much assumed that the Chicago Cubs are going to sign Tatsuya Imai to a contract. Now, how much that contract is and what they do with that, that remains to be seen. But there's also another Japanese star out there that the Chicago Cubs could actually also be rumored to be in the sweepstakes for, and that's Kazuma Okamoto. So the other teams mentioned with Okamoto are the Angels, the Pirates, the Red Sox, the Blue Jays, and the Diamondbacks. Okamoto is a 29-year-old from Japan. He has till January 4th to sign with a team. And so apparently Chicago Cubs are among those teams that are looking at him and wanting him to come to play for their team. So what's the great thing about Okamoto? Well, Okamoto has defensive versatility, versatility that really makes him an intriguing option for clubs in need of infield help. He's capable of playing both third base and first base. He has also played 154 games in the outfield, so serving as a utility man is very much possible. This makes him a strong fallback option for teams interested in third baseman Alex Bregman, although it remains to be seen which will sign first. If I had to take my guess, I would say that Okamoto is waiting for Alex Bregman to choose where he will sign, because Okamoto will then, his price goes up because teams will become desperate to sign someone like him. So he is following the lead of Alex Bregman and his team, including Scott Boras, who are trying to nab a very lucrative deal for Alex Bregman. But Okamoto is a very, very viable option for the Chicago Cubs. Now, could he come off the bench? Could he be a utility guy? Could he help out in many ways? Absolutely. In their free agent predictions published last month, MLB trade rumors projected Okamoto to land a 4-year, $64 million deal. So again, that deal in itself is something that the Chicago Cubs absolutely could afford. If the Cubs determined that Bregman is not within their budget, pivoting quickly to Okamoto would make sense, because Okamoto has a firm deadline to sign and Bregman can wait as long as he wants. So teams considering both players may be forced to make a decision before Bregman's negotiations conclude. So, like I said, Bregman himself, we already know that he is taking his good sweet time with this, and him and Scott Boras, clearly, because both Scott Boras' main major clients that are free agents, again, which include Cody Bellinger and Alex Bregman, are both still on the market, have not signed deals yet, are waiting this thing out, and are willing to wait it out until the very last moment to decide where they will go play. Like literally right up to spring training, these guys are willing to do so. So Okamoto spent 11 seasons in Nippon professional baseball, all with the Yomiuri Giants across 1,074 games. He hit 248 home runs with an 8.82 OPS. He posted an identical 11.3% strikeout and walk rates in 2025, along with a career best 210 WRC plus with 12 home runs over just 69 games due to injury. So Okamoto averaged 33 homers a year over his 7 previous seasons. So the power is there to go with the plate approach. So you see this guy not only has plate discipline, he also has the power to be able to come in and lift a team. So 33 home runs is nothing to sniff at. Now, again, he's coming off injury, and he will have to adjust to how the pitching is in the major leagues in America. So that is something that you're going to have to look at when it comes to him. But again, I mean, the Chicago Cubs have patience. They have patience, and this guy can play multiple positions for the Chicago Cubs. He's somebody that you look at and you say to yourself could be a great addition to what the Chicago Cubs are trying to do, especially with adding him and Imai. Now, again, for my money, I would like to add somebody like Bregman, who's for sure going to give you that power and you don't have to worry about whether or not he has to figure things out versus having to do something like something like Okamoto, who is going to have to figure things out. And like I said, is coming in at 29 and really going to have to see what he can do as far as how he brings his plate approach. I ain't gonna lie to you guys, I'm a little hesitant because of what we went through with Seiya Suzuki and how he was not able. I mean, last season was his first really, really good season as a Chicago Cub. So, I mean, like I said, there took some time for Seiya Suzuki to figure out the major leagues, and it could also take this same amount of time for Okamoto. So again, it's just one of those things where you want to be cautious with this, but again, he also brings so much more than just offense to the team. So when you look at this, you say to yourself, this guy offers you a lot of different options defensively. And we all know Craig Counsell loves to do this with his lineups. He loves options. He loves to be able to play guys in multiple different spots. And again, this is somebody that will see multiple different spots, could potentially see multiple different spots for the Chicago Cubs in the season. So as the offseason progresses, the idea of the Cubs signing a big bat feels less and less likely. Bregman remains the best fit, but doing so would likely take Imai off the table for financial reasons. Bringing in Okamoto would help fill some of the void left by Kyle Tucker, while also giving the front office an opportunity to further shore up the rotation. Still a long shot, but it is definitely something to keep on your radar as the new year gets closer. So Jed Hoyer loves a deadline, and if Okamoto's market sinks to a level the Cubs are comfortable with, they may pounce on it, and they may end up signing him. So again, you figure the Cubs already have around $40 to $50 million left to spend this offseason. So if they sign somebody like Bregman, then more than likely you won't see them sign. They probably won't get Imai, and they probably won't get Okamoto. But if they whiff on Bregman, then a deal for one of these guys is definitely possible, or maybe even both these guys. So I want to flip that question over to you. Would you like to see the Chicago Cubs make a move for Okamoto? Would you like to see him play for the Chicago Cubs and sign a lucrative deal for both sides where the years match and the money is there also, something that he can be happy with, and also something the Chicago Cubs could be happy with? For my money, if we do whiff on Bregman, this is the next best bet. Now, again, I don't know that he'll be able to provide the power here in the major leagues like he did overseas, but again, we'll just have to see what comes with that. But listen, I need to know from you guys below. Comment your thoughts below. Let me know what you guys are thinking. If you want the Chicago Cubs to do it, or if you would rather them focus on maybe making a trade or doing some type of deal to get better pitching and then to sign somebody like Alex Bregman or Kyle Tucker to a contract. Let me know your thoughts below, guys. I appreciate you so much for tuning in to another episode of Chicago Cubs Central. Remember, anytime the Chicago Cubs make big, huge news, listen, I'll be right there, Johnny on the spot, to record and to post it. So please make sure you hit that like button, also that share button, and of course that subscribe button so that you never miss any of the action we got going on over here on Chicago Cubs Central. Thank you so much for making this your number one spot for all things Chicago Cubs. I'm Mike Jones. Until next time, peace.
Thank you for watching another episode of Chicago Cubs Central, the number one spot for all Chicago Cubs content. Remember to like, share, subscribe for more Cubs content.